All right, well, we are driving into Thompson and Sego Canyon. Now, a local that we met, the guy from Blanding, pronounced Sego Canyon, which is S-E-G-O, as Segi Canyon. So anyway, we're going up here to look at some pictographs, an incredible collection of them, 3 different time periods, as I remember. And probably we'll end up boondocking back here as well, which
we have done before.
Several times. You can see the wonderful sky that's coming towards us, so this could be interesting. We'll just see how this weather plays out. So, all right, we'll see you probably at the panel. Okay, we are at Sego Canyon, rock art site, I guess I have to say, because it's both petroglyphs and pictographs. Our first panel was right here, and this one happens to be Ute Indian, so I think it's much more recent than the other ones we're going to see. And I actually see a horse up there, so that tells you it's after the Spanish arrived in the area. So let's take a look. All right, so our first panel here is attributed to the Ute, and it's both mostly petroglyphs, but you can probably see there as well, in that shield that's in the center right now. We have some painting. And then the second figure to the left also has some painted legs. But yeah, you can see the horse there over on the end, so we date that to after the Spanish arrived. And of course there's some graffiti up there as well, unfortunately. Yeah, so let me give you the setting. There we have the Ute panel. And then come around. The next petroglyph panel is actually the flat end of this rock here, and then around the corner we will see what I think are some of the most spectacular things here. But when you drive up the canyon, it's not hard to find because it's just straight up. The road's fairly good. It's an old paved road that's not maintained, so there's potholes, but not terrible. And then right before we came up here, there was a wash. So if it rains, we would have to wait for that to dry out. But let me turn this off and we'll walk around to the next panel. Trails, it's not difficult. If you're impaired in any way, it might be difficult. We have the petroglyphs. And I'm not sure if this is Fremont. A lot of it looks like it's possibly Fremont, but a couple figures almost could be Barrier Canyon style. Have a real faint figure over here. Looks like some have spalled. It's like spalling, I think. Oh, I never even noticed this before, but we do have some pictographs up above, and not totally dissimilar, it looks like, to some of the figures we saw. In fact, very similar to the figures we saw in Buckhorn Wash. So there are actually several more areas that have petroglyphs and pictographs, but the main one here is right up around this corner. So let's go take a look. Even this panel looks like it's starting to lose some of its color. It's really interesting. All right, so definitely Barriers Canyon style here. This form right here in the center is similar to the types of things you see up at the Great Gallery. I don't know what's causing it, but I'm pretty sure that this has really started to have the mud over the panel, because it was, my recollection, much more vibrant. How about you, Carol?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, one of those big eye earrings and a little antenna. And we're being held back pretty far again. Not like the Buckhorn Wash where we could get right up to the figures. This figure over here in the center now almost looks like somebody's done something. It almost looks like it has a face. All right, let's just back off and look at the whole panel here. Pretty awesome. But there's more. There's an area here. Used to be I could walk in there, and I've gotten photographs inside, so I may substitute some photographs for the video where I show you the different panels, because we can't get as near as close as I'd like to. Behind barbed wire here, this area. Now let me zoom in. Yeah, all along the bottom here, there are figures. There are some I'm not seeing from this vantage point, so I don't know if I'll have to show you my photographs of it. We move over here and we have another figure there right above the bushes in the center. And then up in there, you can see two Sego Canyon style. But there in the corner, right next to the bullseye, there's a figure that's real interesting. It has a white face and a white chest. Everything else is red, but it's also carrying a sword. So again, probably after the Spanish came in. And again, there's more petroglyphs up here. We were just over there by the corral. That's where those pictographs were, and the petroglyphs around the corner there. We have a panel here. Really interesting, the dark figure up there. I don't know if somebody has outlined something that was there before, because it's so out of character with the rest. And you may remember when we were in El Morro, there was incidents of people, actually preservationists, going in, filled them in with graphite. All right, I do think there's another petroglyph down the way, as I remember. It was a petroglyph, but it's a pictograph. You can see right here the interesting design there with the red and then the negative space being like connected diamonds. An obvious snake up above. A couple of partial figures over here. So I noticed I was putting the stuff back in the car, got out that other camera to get some close shots. I'll just intersperse them, or they've been interspersed, I think, with the other ones, so we don't do everything twice. But I noticed we have a natural bridge here. And this is about as close as I'm going to get to it. And then we have an unnatural bridge right under it. So you get the two bridges for the price of one. All right. So there's a natural bridge. The difference between a bridge and an arch is that a bridge is formed by water. An arch is formed by wind and rain and ice and things like that. And then right below it here, we have an old bridge, it looks like. I'm going back to the car and we're going to go find a boondock spot. Well, we have found our boondock spot. And what a great place, because we're right next to a hotel and a general store, which I'll show you here in a second. But we are in Sego Canyon, and actually we almost camped at an old mine spot, and I may just walk back up there. It wasn't too far. But let me show you the old hotel and general store. Okay, so this is the old hotel. And this was a two-story affair. I was here, and first time was 2009, and it was still standing, sorta. I don't think you could get to the second floor, but I believe I walked through the inside. I'll check my files, and if I have something, I'll show it. I'm looking for my path to the old general store. Pretty cool, huh? I mean, look at this. I'll have to look it up to see what year this was built. So let's go inside. So it was at least a two-story affair. And I think this down here would have been more like a storeroom. It looks like we've had some boondockers in here. So yeah, you can see the rock foundation here. It's pretty cool, and you can see the area where the floor joists were on both sides here. It's pretty cool, huh? Still got the stucco on most of it. Yeah, this was probably the main door here. And the shop windows for the looky-loos. Wonder if the miners were looky-loos. So, yeah, pretty tall ceilings it looks like. And probably the back door. And we're gonna walk out here. This back door, you can see it's pretty much walled off. So it would have come back and maybe this was the way they brought goods in. It's hard to tell. We walk out this way. I know there's another structure, at least one more structure out here. I guess I never learn because I think I walk up this and then I have to walk back down somewhere. It's pretty crumbled. But yeah, this looks like, see how it's all built up with earth? Good chance it was a buried building, you know, for cold storage or something. I thought it might have been the residence, but I don't see anything else around here. Let me walk around here. I'm gonna walk up to this cave up here. Probably get killed. So yeah, here's the front of that storehouse, or maybe it was the cabin. It's pretty cool. Threatening rain up there again. All right, well, I may not go across because I have a big ravine here. All right, I'm gonna walk you guys to the mine now because I think it's pretty cool. And then we'll call it a day. All right, on to the mine. So we're coming up to the mining area, and I'm starting to think this isn't the one we've camped at before because my recollection was that it was much steeper and then flatter up on top. But we'll go look at that. Here I think we might have a mine shaft entrance. Yeah, it's all caved in. It's pretty cool though. And I did see something up. We have this little hut, another kind of earth covered hut. Seems to be the thing, because remember we saw that up in Buckhorn Draw area. But this one is much bigger and has lost its rear end. Looks like a boulder has crashed into the back of it. But whether this is the one that we stayed at before, I know I waited out a rainstorm in one of these, but this one doesn't look too rainproof. Yeah. The danger of boulders falling down from above. I'm almost positive this isn't the one we've done before, because I would have seen all this stuff. Yeah. Looks like maybe like another rock cabin, possibly. Yeah, look, that's where the rock fell in, and this is where the rock came from. Yowzers. Yeah, but the old guy was glad he wasn't mining here when that happened. Yeah, another rock wall structure. So this might have been a two-room cabin, because it doesn't any indication that the two were joined, but it, you know, may have just been like, you know, bedroom for one miner, and the boss had the bigger place. And here, this is kind of interesting. It's another rock shelter, or rock something, and partially buried in the ground. You can see the tin on the roof, I assume. Big timbers. You know, sometimes they had outbuildings that they stored their dynamite in, and being down in the ground would ensure that if it went off, it would go more or less straight up in the air. Well, I don't know that we'll have anything later tonight, and glad you guys came along. Again, sorry for the wind. Again, leave us comments, ask us questions. It's always great to hear from you guys. So, good night. We'll see you in the morning, most likely. Not before.